What's the haps? I'm Meroka, and today I'm taking a look at GRiEF by Tarhead Studio, a development team recently started by a group of Swedish students. This is their first title, recently launched on Sora, a 2D side-scrolling platformer in which we take the role of a small child whom recently lost its father to cancer after a lifelong smoking habit. And now they go through the 5 stages of grief. 5 stages, obviously being denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. You'll likely have encountered that at some point in your life. It's something that pops up from time to time. And each of those stages are manifested in the game as a separate level. While we're here at the main menu, I'm going to pop into the options, and one of my pet hates about games that's cropping up more and more lately, unfortunately, is the lack of a resolution option. It's a simple game, so I'm not too bothered about the lack of any other graphics options, but I do think games you should be able to at least have some degree of control over the resolution. I do not. This game runs, for me, on my monitor, 1366 by 768, which is kind of an odd resolution to say the least. And in spite of having an alleged full screen mode, there, I've got a little checkbox that I can turn it on and off with. Unfortunately, I can't actually start the game when it's running in windowed mode, so whether that's a universal bug that would break the game for everyone or not, I don't know. I obviously can't test that out, but it's certainly definitely an issue on at least some machines by virtue of the fact that it's an issue on my machine. So something to watch out for there. So I can only run this in full screen at 1366 by 768, which is a non-native resolution, which is obviously certainly problematic. So head back to the main menu and we shall jump into the game, and I can show you what GRiEF is all about. So stage 1 of the 5-stage process is denial. No matter how fast I run, no matter how hard I try to avoid it, the truth was right there. So starting a level representing denial. These little lamps, they pop up occasionally. These are our checkpoints. It's not immediately obvious, but they are. You'll occasionally reach them. They are our checkpoints. And we'll get these occasional sound clips as we go along of the child's memories of his father and occasionally his mother as they've dealt with the process of his father going through cancer. So the gameplay itself is straightforward, really. It's nothing particularly exciting. It's some fairly basic platforming action through and through. You can say, oh, you're just doing the first level, obviously it's basic, it might get a bit more interesting. Yes, but only marginally. One of the levels does throw in a sort of perpetual moving mechanic where you're only allowed to walk across the screen in one direction and the wind is essentially blowing you across, but beyond that, it really doesn't change up the mechanics much. Most part, it's a fairly standard platformer with little to differentiate from anything else noteworthy. There's nothing special going on, it's just jumping from platform to platform. It is as basic platform as you could possibly get. What it does have going for it, though, is a lot of emotional impact. Obviously, the graphic style is very reminiscent of Limbo, and thanks to the success of Limbo, unfortunately, that is also a style that has been mimicked by a lot of other indie games in recent years. Everyone's seen, oh, the dark silhouettes have worked really well for Limbo, let's use silhouettes as well. And unfortunately, there's actually quite a few titles that are all silhouette-y these days. So it's a little bit of an overused style, but it does seem to be appropriate for this. Where Limbo was merely dark, this is actually quite morbid in places. Obviously, you've got the trees with the syringes stuck in the background. There's obviously broken wheelchairs in part of the scenery around here. All our enemies are trays of ashtrays. If we touch them, they will instantly kill us. So, yeah, like that. I jumped a little too soon. Collision detection, sometimes, yeah, a little bit skittish. Sometimes, if you don't let the particle effects fade and jump too soon, it will kill you, and you'll have to go back to the checkpoint, which may or may not be anywhere close. There are a few issues like that with the gameplay in certain areas. There are things which can kill you which don't immediately look like they would kill you, but do, or things that just entirely catch you off guard. There are certain traps and enemies and things that you just can't see coming. Unless you played through at a painfully cautious pace, they will get you first time every time. And I feel like that's slightly poor game design. games generally should at least give you a fair chance to dodge whatever it's throwing at you, but in the end this boils down to a little element of trial and error in some cases. It's, oh, okay, that's killed me now. Now I know how to dodge it next time. You should at least be given a fair shake at dodging it the first time around, I feel, but given that the checkpoints are never too far back, and on the whole they're fairly short levels, it's not too big of a concern, but it's just a minor gripe really, more than anything else. And I'm not going to make it through that because I'm silly. Let's go back and try that again. Yeah, that's just a kind of timing puzzle, but I don't know, you can get through it without taking it one step at a time. It's just a little bit... Okay, so if I stand here, boom, and then I can get past... Oh, that nearly got me. So then that's going to go there, and I can stand there. Yep, okay, we're through. That's that. So puzzles don't really, for the most part, get a heck of a lot more complex than that. That's pretty much as complex as they get. Like I said, there's a few mechanics that change things up slightly, but not to any great extent. So we're already on to stage 2. So you can see these levels are relatively short. You're looking at 5 to 10 minutes for each level. There is probably less than half an hour's worth of content in the entire game. I'm not sure exactly how long it took me, but normally I would sit and play a game for half an hour to an hour or so, just get a feel for a game before doing a first impressions, but I finished the entire thing in this instance. And there's one of those things that caught me out before. There is no way to know that that tar drop is coming for you unless it's hit you before. So you kind of do that, then that triggers it and drops it, and then you can do that. That's how that one's dealt with. But there's absolutely nothing to tip you off that that's coming the first time around. So unless you're monumentally cautious, that will pretty much catch you out every dang time, which is not ideal, really. Not ideal. But obviously, you see, each level's kind of now we're in the anger stage, and it's very well illustrated. This is obviously got the red lighting. I love the backgrounds. The red lighting in the background is fantastically atmospheric. The music sets the scenes great. It's very much an emotional title more than it is a solid gameplay title. If you're looking for a really interesting platformer with really cool mechanics, this is not what you're looking for. And this is a tricky bit. Yeah, haha. Normally you'd step on that and fall to your death. If you're very careful about this, you can... Is that one okay? That one's okay. But you've got to kind of get close to them to test the waters before you get to them, see if they disappear or not. That one's okay, but then the next one's not. Yeah, that one caught me out first time as well. I just remembered that time. So there's a few almost cheap traps, really. Things that catch you out through absolutely no fault of your own, which is unfortunate. Well, like I say, you're not really playing this game for platforming. You wouldn't want to buy this game for that, but if you're the sort of person who likes an arty title, certainly Lost in Arrow, maybe some people might criticise it as being a little pretentious. I certainly know people who would, but and the tar got me. But if you want something with a little bit more emotional impact to it than your standard title, this is definitely the way forward. And at a mere $2 on Desura, I think it's something that fits that bill very, very nicely. You know, $2 for half an hour's entertainment, and it is an excellent piece of artwork. I think it's something that's very well worth checking out. Like I say, it's no masterpiece or groundbreaking thing in the world of platforming, but as an artistic piece in its own right, it's definitely worth a look. So we're already on to phase 3, so we're almost halfway through the game, so you can see how quick it can be to burn through. I mean, I've already done these levels, so I know them a little bit better. First time through, they will likely take you a little bit longer, so, like I say, about half an hour's worth of gameplay probably tops in the entire thing. So, that's that. That has been GRiEF. I've been Meroka, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time.